Morning everybody, it's Chris here from Serene Education for the 3rd of March 2011. Just looking at the Euro against US dollar pair on our CTC strategy template. A daily time frame, you can see how yesterday's trading took us above a previous resistance level and closed strongly to the upside, and then the Asian market has actually opened and going into the European session in say half an hour's time is looking very indecisive. Okay, you can see the extended uptrend. The good thing is that we're still trading above this all-important resistance level. And now what we could do is we could see a progression to either this previous resistance level here around about the 139500 mark, and then ultimately the highs around 1420. So what could we see? We could see potential pause, or you could see going into the European session this morning a bit more upside movement, purely because we're not trading above a previous resistance level, and hopefully the momentum will drive it further to the upside. Going into the intraday charts, let's have a look and see what's happening on the news side this morning. We have minimum bid rate figures coming out at 12:45 GMT on Euro. 7 o'clock this morning we have German retail sales figures, and then we have ECB press conference. So there's going to be a lot of news out for this particular pair. And then on the US side, we have unemployment claims, and then we got non-farm productivity quarter-on-quarter figures. Tomorrow, remember, is non-farm payroll. It's the first month of Feb. The first Friday of Feb. So we could see a bit of we could see consolidation or a pullback. Just remember that. If the figures are really good for the US, then you could find the euro losing a bit of ground, and hence we could see a pullback to previous resistance. Okay, if you look at our intraday time frames, you can see the movement yesterday, really great, capitalized to the upside. Nice move to start with, pulled back, and then up to 61.8%. Didn't quite make the 100, but almost. And then now what we're seeing is the pair just moving sideways. We've had lower swing highs to start with. This is back to a resistance level, as you can see previously, and now we're still trading above it. Nice breakout at 6 AM GMT this morning. Let's see if this momentum continues to the upside. That's what we're looking for. Our CTCs in our favor in all time frames, bar the smaller intraday ones, 15.5, purely because of the pullback that's occurred during the Asian market session. So going forward, if the pair can stay above this area, roughly around the 13.845 mark, then we could see further progressions to the upside. Hey guys, that's Euro against US dollar. I'll be back next with sterling against US dollar. Okay, like its compatriot, the Euro against US dollar, this pair had a movement yesterday. You notice on a daily time frame that the trend is well extended, and we broke a previous high that we saw haven't seen since the 1st of November last year. And Asian market trading has done exactly the same as it's done on its European counterpart, traded indecisive. So as long as the pair is trading above this area here, ideally above 1627, then we should see further extensions. But as I mentioned, we're now going into the latter part of this week where we're getting non-farm payroll figures out in the States tomorrow, Friday, and we've got some news out today in the US. And then we got sterling. This morning we got services PMI figures coming out at 9:30 GMT. Then we got MPC member Bean speaks. Mr. Bean's having a word. That's later this afternoon at 1. So more, I think we're going to be pressed on the US session. We've got unemployment figures, and then we've got that non-farm productivity quarter-on-quarter figure. They don't expect to change there. Unemployment claims, they expect slightly more than the previous figure, but I think it's all leading up to the non-farm payroll figures out tomorrow. Be aware of it. But as things stand, if the pair can stay above that 16, this mark over here, you can see the resistance level quite clearly. Bang, bang, support, 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 support. So got to try and stay above all that. Has to. try as it may, if it can stay above this going into the latter part of today, then we could see further extensions. I mean, the highs by the wicks from 50, that's only 15 pips difference. So just put some sort of alarm alert type thing on your broker. So if you do get a breakout confirmation upside, then it'll be great. If it closes at the bottom, then we should start thinking maybe we're seeing a consolidation taking place. Okay, that's the sterling against the US dollar. I'll be back next with the US dollar against Swiss. Okay, US dollar against Swiss franc, daily time frame. Yesterday, we all know that we've broken through 935 or 0.935 recently, and what tends to happen is after initial quite a strong break, it was a very strong resistance level, what you tend to see is price consolidate, and we saw that in these very indecisive spinning tops and dojis. And then yesterday we saw a move into the downside late afternoon US session, and then on the Asian market this morning we've seen price pulling back, opening higher and trading slightly higher than yesterday's close. So what do we have in store for this pair? Same as the euro and its sterling counterpart. We're now going to the latter part of this week where we're going to get the non-farm employment figures out stateside. Today we've got non-farm quarter-on-quarter production figures. Sorry, productivity quarter-on-quarter figures. This is going to be leading up to tomorrow. We've got unemployment claims too. So all these are going to be factored in. Chief, this morning, what do we have? At 8:15 GMT, we have retail sales year-on-year figures. That's the only one for the Swiss franc this morning. But ultimately, what we're looking for, if the figures that come out of the States are negative, then you're going to see the pair continue to the downside. And what we'll genuinely see is a classic continuation, breakout, pullback, and continue. So breakouts, pullback, and continuation in the downtrend. CTC is in our favor. Everything's in our favor on a daily time frame. And what we should be looking for on the intraday time frames is exactly that. Confirmation. You can see yesterday we had that breakout to the downside, well extended down to 161.8% during the latter part of yesterday afternoon, and then we saw a climb to the upside, and this climb has now taken it to a previous bounce area. We're trading around that area now. If we can stay above the support, then we could see a rally towards the previous break of 0.9275. Okay, so we need CTCs in our favor now on a 30-minute time frame. The same should be for a 15-minute. You can see we've just been going sideways during the Asian, better parts of late yesterday afternoon or US session trading, and then into the Asian market. Definite support here around 9235, and then we've seen a break to the upside. Be aware that the 200 period moving average on 50-minute now is in close proximity, and you can see a previous support and resistance level at 9270 or 9265 is going to be met. Just be aware of that. Just remember we are still in a negative trend, so we don't want to be trading to the upside if there's a good possibility that we could see a potential pullback and continuation. As you see on an hourly chart, a good example of that, you can see we have lower swing highs all to the downside, and as we speak we're having a test of that high. So don't be faked out. 50 pairs right there. Don't be dragged into a trade that's going to be moving upside if you know that we have quite a lot of momentum to the downside. Okay, that's the US dollar Swiss franc. I'll be back next with the US dollar Japanese yen. And then so the last pair of today, the 3rd of March 2011, is our US dollar Japanese yen counterpart, and you can see very similar to the Swiss franc pair, pulling back right through to a previous support area. In this case you can see we've had a bounce. This will be the 3rd bounce, and then after that bounce took place we saw movement to the side, consolidation. Yesterday we finished off with a indecision candle, a doji, and what we like to see after a doji is a classic confirmation signal. See, indecision, confirmation, trade. Indecision, confirmation, trade. So we want to see these. We'd like to definitely see it. Ideally, the confirmation signal would either have to be a strong one, cancelling out all this, i.e. a bullish candle like that, for example, on previous support, or ideally one, because the trend is down, CTC is down, Japanese yen is or the US dollar is trading quite negative against the Japanese yen. We can see a break of this support level, for further targets to the downside. Okay, so as it stands now, hopefully we'd like to see a decision candle, all those trading longer time frames. Those trading intraday, well, hourly for example, you can see CTC is still negative. We're having swing lows. Oops, I've got draw. A nice swing lows. You can see the supports is there. So we're testing that. Are we going to see the 50 period acting as a resistance level for the second time in as many hours? Bang, and then only for it to fall back down again. Remember, the swings to the downside. Break of this and the break of that previous swing over here would see ideally a trade back up to the 82.20 mark, which would bring us in line with the 200 period moving average on an hourly. Okay, so you can see that on an hourly chart there's got to be a lot of momentum to the upside and actually to break this range. Otherwise, what we could do is just see the pair smack into this trend line on this time frame and just drag the pair lower. Okay. US dollar figures. There's a lot of news coming out today as well as tomorrow, non-farm payroll on the US dollar. So that could all be factoring into this. Not only the global issues, Middle East, but also just issues back in its own country. Okay, be aware of that and factor that into your trading. So you can see we're just going sideways on a daily time frame. We're consolidating. We've had a number of days of consolidation after that support area, and that's clearly shown on a 4-hour chart, but you'll notice that our lows are still getting lower. Okay, be aware of that. We need a break of that trend line, particular trend line, in order to see further upside movements. Otherwise, all we're going to do is see price bounce or trade through it, take people in, and then trigger their entry levels, and then take them against them and trade to the downside again because market sentiment is still negative. Okay, that's it for today. Hope you have a fantastic day's trading. Keep your trading simple. Take your profits when they present themselves. And most importantly, trade serenely.